What led you to choose your occupation?
What led me to my chosen occupation? I always liked sports growing up as a kid, but I also like medicine. I was always interested in first aid and doing all that kind of stuff. So I knew the only way I could do the two things was to become an athletic trainer.
What educational program or major is recommended as preparation?
There are two ways if someone wants to become an athletic trainer nowadays. And one is the undergraduate, and it's an athletic training major. People go off, undergraduate classes and get a degree in athletic training. But there's also what they call entry-level master's degree programs in athletic training.
What are your job responsibilities?
Athletic training is the care and prevention of athletic injuries. So what does that mean? I am the mom when it comes to everybody. You guys will come to me with any of your injuries, any of your sicknesses. I'll take care of it at that time. We'll see that you're healthy enough to get back onto the field. But it could be a whole host of things, getting you to a doctor, getting you to a physical therapist, getting you where you need to be so you're able to get back out on that field. There's also times we work on preventative type stuff where we talk about nutrition and we talk about strength and conditioning, all that kind of stuff, all wrapped up into one.
Good. What is your typical day like?
My typical day in the athletic training room is I'll open up the doors at 9 o'clock and I could be there till 6 o'clock or even longer. It all depends on the games that day. If you play late at night, and so I'm there. So I'm there until all the athletes are done. We're usually the first ones to get there and last ones to leave when it comes to taking care of our student athletes. But I also get the opportunity to fly different places with the different teams and so forth. And like our women's soccer team making it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Now I'm getting to enjoy Florida here.
If you were hiring a person for the job, what qualifications would you look for?
What I look for someone, if I was to hire somebody, first I wanted to make sure that they have the experience in athletic training, making sure that they have a degree in athletic training, that they are certified as an athletic trainer. A lot of people confuse, personal trainer, athletic trainer. We want someone that's certified athletic trainer, and then we look for someone with experience. Experience will definitely help that person and being able to work with different athletes, different coaches, and so forth. So it's a little bit difficult sometimes, when you have to deal with different coaches. And I also look for someone that's got a good social skills, someone that'll be able to interact with the athletes and get along with them, because that's very important. You need to be able to have those athletes confide in you and work with you and so forth. So I definitely having the education, the experience, and then making sure they have good social skills.
What is the salary range for your occupation?
Normally when it comes to salaries and first time people coming out of college, maybe with a year or two experience, maybe with a graduate assistantship, they've got that experience. At Oakland we're paying like $35,000. It's not a whole lot of money when it comes to all the time they have to put in, but for the most part, when someone's working at the collegiate level, you're doing it for the love of the sport, the love of the athletes, and so forth, because you're definitely not making a whole lot of money when it comes to the amount of hours that you put in. But there are other areas that you can go into in athletic training. At the collegiate level, it's not the only place. You can work in clinics, you can work in the industrial setting. Like Ford has athletic trainers there. Some factories have athletic trainers. So athletic trainers are found at NASA working with the astronauts. There are athletic trainers working in NASCAR, with race car drivers and so forth. So there are other areas where you can make more money. And unfortunately, at the collegiate level, you probably, you don't make the big bucks as compared to the others I just mentioned.
What do you see as some positives and negatives of your occupation?
Some of the positives and negatives of my occupation. All right, the positives. I get to work with student athletes, whereas some athletic trainers work in a clinic and they're dealing with patients that do not want to get healthy. So student athletes are much more ambitious about getting, they want to get healthy, they want to get back out on the field and so forth. So it makes my job easier in that regard. But every 4 years I'm getting a turnover, so I'm staying younger every year. So I don't I don't get that old, and I've built up relationships along the way where I have had alumni call me and ask me what to do for a certain injury and so forth. So that's one of the positives. Another positive is I spoke earlier about traveling. Yes, there is hardship to my family and so forth, but I get to travel a lot. As an athletic trainer, I travel to Bulgaria with the Winter World University Games. I also went to the Olympic Training Center. I've gone to Germany, Austria, and Italy, traveling with an Olympic developmental soccer team. So that's experience. That's getting to travel where I haven't had to take any money out of my pocket. So I've been able to do that where I might not have growing up. So I think that's an advantage. Some of the positives. And working with every the student athlete has always been my goal, and to work with people that want to excel and so forth. Negatives, I might have touched on this a little bit before. Salaries aren't there, as well as the amount of hours that we do put in. It's not uncommon to put in 60 to 70 hours a week, or even being away from home for weeks on end. So that would be some of the things.
What are some other occupations that are closely related to yours?
Closely related to athletic training, you see a number of physical therapy. We do some of those things that physical therapists do. We do some of the things that strength and conditioning do. But within the realm of athletic training, we'll do physical therapy, we'll do strength and conditioning, we'll do nutrition type stuff. So we do quite a lot of things, but not specializing in just one. But what I've always thought of is I've got a Rolodex of business cards that have other professions out there. So if I ever need it, I can reach to it and find those people, to be more. At least I know that I know some of the things, but I'm not an expert in them. So I'll go out and get that information if I need to find out anything more.
What is the employment outlook for your occupation?
I think the employment outlook for my occupation as an athletic trainer is pretty good, because we can do a number of things so that that allows us to be able to apply for other jobs. Like I mentioned before, we have athletic trainers working with astronauts, working with race car drivers, and then also in the industrial setting. So we're not just in the collegiate setting, we're not just in the high school. We could be in clinics. We are out there, and I believe the need is there, because there are some high schools that have 3 athletic trainers in the high school right now, whereas some of the high schools in Michigan are struggling to get 1. So there's a big push to get an athletic trainer in every high school, and if that happens, there's going to be more of a need for athletic trainers. And so I think it's one of those fields that is still growing.
What is some advice you would give to someone that is looking into your occupation?
If I was to do it all over again, thinking about what would be best for someone going into this profession, I think it would be best for that person to get as much experience as possible, and don't expect to get paid, but get out there, get involved, find out a lot about your profession, because it is a hard profession to be into, because you're not getting paid a lot. Their hours are long. Understand that before you get into that profession, so that you don't waste 4 years going through it and then realize this is not for me. So get as much experience as possible, because that's going to help you in the long run. You're going to be able to excel. You'll network. You'll find other athletic trainers out there, and you'll be able to make yourself more marketable with more experience there.
What types of technologies are used, and how are they used?
What types of technology do we use as an athletic trainer? Besides the use of computers and programs there where we input all of our injuries and so forth, and rehab programs for our student athletes, we also have electrical stimulation, we have ultrasound, we have a Game Ready, which is a machine that puts cold and pressure on an area to eliminate swelling. We also have a SwimX that has it's more or less a pool that has a current that we can adjust there. So if anybody has a injury where they're non-weight bearing, we can get them in that pool and keep them up to speed where their heart rate is up, so they don't lose any of that, so they can get back a lot quicker onto the court or on the field or wherever they play. So you find a lot of technology where we're using more and more of that. You need to stay up to date on that kind of stuff. But it is there in athletic training, like in other professions as well.
What professional organizations would I benefit from?
Professional organizations. Back in high school, I joined the National Athletic Trainers Association way back when, and I think that's probably the best thing for anybody to do. If you weren't pursuing athletic training or pursuing another field, you need to get into an organization and find out as much as you can about that profession. The National Athletic Training Association, they sent out journals, they sent out information. It keeps you up to date on what's going on within the organization. So if anybody could do that with the first aid aspect of it, if you can get into the Red Cross or American Heart, stay up to date on that stuff. As you have to anyways, but if you stay up to date with that, strength and conditioning. I have the CSCS behind my name. That's a certified strength and conditioning specialist as well. That kind of information through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. As many organizations as you can to help you. That knowledge is very beneficial for you, and that'll help you. And you'll learn a little bit more about each profession. You'll know about different athletic trainers are out there. So I would encourage you to do that.